What's going on, folks? Frank, the Pest Geek here. On my way back from my route today, I'm running a route and pretty much running a route 3 days a week right now, sometimes four. It just depends. I have a technician coming on tomorrow to go on a test run, and my other technician has been in for almost 2 months now, doing pretty well, and trying to do less management, more leading, and more training as he matures in his route, as he settles in into the realities of what it is to really run a route. Where I was having a conversation with him today, and he thought, I really thought it was more about just showing up, doing the service, spraying, and I realized there's a lot more things to this than previously thought. And that is everybody's experience, because most people think that what pest control people do is spray perimeters and baseboards all day long with a B&G or an Aerofog, and take a power sprayer and just spray a lawn with the product, and they're out of there. Well, that is true for some companies, that's what they actually do. But for most of us, especially me, in the IPM, holistic, observational biology, doing specialized services, you really have to be a pest control professional with knowledge of biology and chemistry, customer service, management. And I'm trying to teach him now route management. I'm trying to teach him how to manage the route versus how to just perform the maintenance services. And I got two things that I want to talk about on today's drive. It was based on two posts that were separate in two different groups. One was from a person I know personally that posted the question, and he posted the price that a regional brand was doing foundation pre-treatments for homes, and he was charging $320, and he was including the stations. And his question was, how do we compete with that? And the answer is, well, you have two options. You don't compete with that. Number two, you understand the business model that they're using and how they're using new construction and new clients to then sell the annual renewal, plus X percentage of those clients are going to buy a home pest control, X percentage of those clients are going to buy a mosquito service, X percentage of those clients are going to pay a monthly renewal fee to manage that. Give me a second. I'm going to take this call from my tech while I'm here doing this. Sounds rude, but maybe something enlightening will happen. Hey, man. At whose? Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, I talked to him about that. It's got disease. You treated it. We're gonna wait 2 weeks because you were only there on the 15th. So yeah. So once we get that done, we're gonna follow it up next week. With as long as we gotta wait 2 weeks on the disease to make sure it's not spreading. So what you gotta look at is, how did that lawn look when you were there? And is the disease still active, or is it spreading? If it's orange around the green areas, then it's still active. But if it just looks dry, then it ceased, and now we just gotta wait for it to recover. Yep. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Take a picture. and then upload it, and then that way I can look the difference when I get back. What else did he have a problem with? Huh? Oh, are you okay? Uh, yeah, 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 bro. You need to That's why I'm saying walk the grounds, inspect everything first, so that you know where everything is, and and then that way that doesn't happen. Yeah, I know, but that could have put you out, bro. All right, all right. Let me know. Yeah, ibuprofen. All right, yeah. Let me know on that. All right, thanks, man. Thank you. Bye bye. So, so he's at a house. We're checking a lawn, and he's spraying some shrubs, and he walks backwards and doesn't realize that there's a step there, and he trips over it and fell on his butt. This is where I'm like constantly, hey, situational awareness. Inspect the property, know where everything is. Um, Most accidents are rear end accidents that we get, twisted ankles, tripping over stuff, and getting bit by dogs. Those are the top three claims that pest control companies have. Um, and what we got to watch out for is, hey, you're walking backwards, you're walking around, you've got a backpack, you got 36 pounds of water in your back. You can lose your footing, you can slip very easily. I almost slipped yesterday on a grease spot on a customer's driveway when I was spraying overhead, and I feel it, and then my foot gave way, and luckily I didn't slip. But yeah, so now he's gonna ice his back when he gets home. Hopefully that's the end of it. Um, it's the stuff we got to deal with, bro, as owners. The stuff that happens to us on a daily basis that nobody really talks about because everybody just pretends that everything is perfect. And if you just follow my 9-step program, you too can have a multi-million-dollar business, get bought out in 5 years, and go live in Bermuda somewhere. It's not the reality, folks. It's just not of what it's like growing a business and working this. But yeah, so you're either making money on the renewal. So for the next 3 years, if you're charging $39 a month, you got to have what these companies have is the long-term vision of what the lifetime value of a customer is worth to them. Okay, we have, as small business owners, we have a very short window where we need to make some money in order to cover those bills, and we do a lot of one-time services that they don't. They have a contract for everything. So everything is on a contract. Everything is long-term based. What they look at is year over year over year over year, month over month. What is the ROI that customer brings in? And what is the lifetime value of that client? And X amount percentage are going to buy mosquito. They have cross. They're going to sell lawns. They're going to sell a bunch of services, and they can afford to finance that growth where the average small business cannot finance the growth. They cannot finance the ROI. The ROI needs to be front loaded so that we can pay for everything. I get it. We're having that struggle now where we're having a plan A and a plan B. Hey, a one-time service with, one follow-up is X. And if you want a long-term commitment, we give $200 off, and it's X, and then it's so much every month or every other month for the service because we need to grow. So we need to appeal to that customer that is spending more with us on average than they're looking for the cheap company. But we're still 30% above the cheap company or the market, 30% above that for maintenance programs that are very simple services that anybody can do. But we're having a brand, and we have a unique selling proposition. We have a very limited product and there's a demand for it, and customers are willing to pay us more for that. So on a one-time, yeah, it's going to be, $200 more than if you commit to a program. So some people will say, no, I don't want the subscription. I don't want a contract. I don't want any of that. I just want you to solve this problem. And they're willing to pay a premium for us to solve it and not have the commitment. Where we make our money up front and then that's it. X percentage, about 20% of those customers, then we convert later to a program, because when we do the inspection, we explain to the client, listen, this ant is going to continue to be a problem. You can't eradicate it. You have a pool, you got this. It's now a growing thing. I just had one today. The lady said, yeah, I've been in all the groups. Everybody's having the same ant problem in this community. I said, you see, you're not going to do it in a one-time service. So while I was there, I converted them to a program. The conversion and the sale to the contract was done on the back end, versus I tried to sell it on the front end. Husband said, no, absolutely not. I talked to her. I'm there. I call him. I said, listen, you're going to need a maintenance program. There's no way we're going to keep this under control for very long. He said, okay, convert it and do it. So a lot of the time the sale is done and the profit is made on the long term, on the ROI. So what I tell people is, look, you got to learn to play that game. You got to know how you're going to finance that game. And you got to understand the rules. And if you can't understand the rules and you can't play the game and you can't swallow a 3-month ROI, a 90-day ROI to make your money, start making a profit on that client and get those clients in that are already buying pest control because they're buying it from XYZ company, you're providing a better quality, but there's still a sensitivity to the price. But you know that customer is a long time buying pest control client that has a good lawn, that has this, that, and the other, then you can go ahead and play that game. And a lot of people just cannot see it. They cannot understand it. We talk about pricing models. We talk about, cost of acquisition, CACs, and some people just do not get it. And there's no way that you're going to understand it. But the people who understand the game, they know how to play it. They take those chances. The second thing is, give me a second, I'm refreshing myself here. One guy was starting up in a group, and he puts a list of, okay, so I'm looking to start my business one day, and I got to get my certification in the state. I got to pass the license in the state. I have to get the insurance. I got to get the equipment. I got to get the truck. I got to get the vehicle insurance. I got to get the liability insurance. I got to get an LLC. I got to probably, most likely, you should get an S Corp in the LLC. You got to get an EIN number. And he's naming all the things that you got to do to start a business. And what 99% of people think, that's it. You started a business and you got everything. And I say, really, that's the easiest part about starting a business. All that paperwork, yeah, it's new to you, it's scary. But the reality is, where's my other phone? Okay. Did I drop it? That's probably, nope, that's not it. That's somebody's calling me on Messenger, and I dropped my other phone, but I'll have to get it. I must have dropped it. It fell off the chair, but I'm not going to reach down and look for a phone while I'm driving. And I said, starting a business, all that is new, but it's really easy. It's really simple. It's about having the money, and yeah, you got to do one thing, then another, then another, then another, then another. And once you're set up, how do you plan to get customers? Do you understand the business of the business? And this is where I posted that being a good technician or being a great technician or being the most knowledgeable technician is not enough, and it's not a guarantee you're going to succeed. As a matter of fact, most fail. And the reason is I don't know the KPIs of what I should be measuring in my business. I don't know how to prospect. I don't know how to sell. I don't know how to market. And I say, if you're in pest control right now, and this is where we go back to the same conversation, I don't get how you make money by giving something like that away. They don't get it. You don't understand the business of the business. You understand the pest control from a technician, route, management perspective. You don't understand the business of doing business, which is the hard part. All of that stuff, I'm telling you guys that looking to start a business, it's super easy. That's the easy part. Getting into business is just like getting married. If you got enough money for a wedding, get married, buy the dress, buy the suit, pay for the flowers, pay for the pictures, pay for the licenses, pay for everything, and then you have no experience or don't understand what a marriage looks like because you come from a broken home, because you don't know, both parents are divorced, you don't know what it's like to be married, then the hard part is actually the marriage. Weddings are easy. Starting a business is easy, just like having a wedding. It's like getting pregnant. It's easy to get pregnant and have a child. Another thing is to raise a successful child. That's the work that goes into that nobody prepares you for. And what I tell people is, listen, easy. You think you want to start a business, why don't you go into sales? If you can't make it in sales, I don't know how you're going to make it in business. Because you got to be a salesperson. How are you going to market your service? How are you going to contact those potential customers? Because everybody tells me, well, I'm great if somebody calls me, and I'm great when I'm in front of a person. The question that I have for you as a business person is, how do you get in front of that person, which is what nobody knows how to do. You got to learn how to prospect. You got to learn. What are you going to do when you got your first 150,000, 200,000, and you need to start hiring? What you're going to go through to grow and hire. There is so much to know about running a business. So get into management. But I don't want to do it at my company. Do it anyway. Eat that frog. Get into sales. If you're young and you're thinking about starting a business, learn the back end of the business. The only way you're going to learn a back end of the business is to go into sales, go into management, get into senior management. You say, well, I can't manage people and I can't grow. How do you plan to grow your business later on? You think it's going to happen by you being a nice guy? Trust me, I've been there, done that, failed at it. It don't work. And I was a seasoned manager. But sometimes I want to be nicer than Jesus. So tomorrow I got a guy that we're going to do mega lawns. We're going to treat tomorrow 250,000 square feet of lawn. I do my mega properties. And on 10 properties, it's going to be 250,000 square feet. If he can survive that, he can make it. If he can't, he can't. It's pretty simple. I don't ask people their age because you can't ask people, but I can tell the person is older than me. But I'm going to give him a shot. He might be a good assistant. He might be a good helper. He may never be a technician. I don't know until I test him. Until I put him to the test tomorrow, and I can see if he cracks or not under that kind of work. Then can he think? Then can he memorize dosages and things? And because a lot of people can do hard work. A lot of people, I used to own a landscape business. I could get people who work hard. Those same hardworking people could not think to save their life. I remember I told the guy, look, this customer left this wire. It's a Romex wire. It should have been run to a conduit pipe. It wasn't. I pulled it out of the ground and put it aside and said, don't touch it. customer come home and says, did you guys trip a wire or something? I said, no, why? He says, well, all my lights are gone in the front. So he turns on the breaker. Turns out the guy that I hired took a shovel and cut the wire. I had put it aside for him already because I did the inspection. Something didn't seem right. I saw the wire going into the ground out of the wall. I said, oh, God, somebody ran a Romex wire underground, high voltage. Luckily, we're using a wood shovel, and all it did was spark. If there would have been water on that ground, I don't know what could have happened. So, because somebody can work hard doesn't mean they can think. Because somebody can think one way and they can think about their job, which is the hardest thing I got, the challenge I have with every technician, every single technician I hire, is getting them out of that, looking at the work order and saying, I'm here to do a monthly service. I knock on the door, I start sweeping, I spray, and I do my report and I leave. And I didn't do an inspection. I didn't walk around see if there were entrails. I didn't look and see, hey, you got a lot of weeds on that lawn. Why don't we write up a weed control service since I'm here? I can't get them to think if their revenue, every technician that I hire, I'm putting on that they must be able to sell. I ask them, they apply for the job. It says you must be able to sell. Have you ever sold anything? Well, no. Can you sell? Well, no, I've never sold anything. So why did you tell me you can sell? Because I need a job, and I'm looking for a job, and I'm hoping you'll hire me, even though I don't plan to sell. I don't know what it's like to manage a route. I don't know what it's like to manage inventory. I don't know what it's like to operate, a van with 2,000 pounds on it and keep a 6-car distance because it isn't going to break like you want it to. People will apply for things they don't know how to do, and we now have to teach people how to think. Hey, you gotta, when you show up now every week, when your product is down to a quarter and you've got maybe a week left of product, you have to kind of visualize that, and then you gotta let me know so we can stock you up again. Don't wait till you run out when you knew that you're using 2 ounces a day, but you're not keeping track of it. Because in people's mind, it's not my job to track the chemical. So I got to teach them how to be a manager, how to track the chemical, how to report on it. Because when you're a small company, you don't have chemical tracking software that's real good inventory wise. So here's a sheet with everything you carry on your truck. Go through your truck at the end of the week on a Friday. Let me know what you need. Send me a picture, and I'll get it ordered, and by Monday or Tuesday, you'll have it. You would not believe how hard that is. Hey, you've got a sticker on the vehicle. When it gets to that mileage or close to it, and we're slow, we can do it a week early, a week after. Let's get the oil change and tire rotation and maintenance. Hey, dude, I got a call because I have a calendar. I said, hey, check me your mileage. When is it due? Oh, it's due in 200 miles. When were you planning on doing it? So, I know I'm talking about how to compete in a market where you're dealing with lost leaders, but that's only product. I had Mikhail Henderson ask me, hey, when are you going to start doing pest control training again? Well, I got to finish the academy. I'm planning on doing the courses and training versus then doing a podcast all the time, because that requires charts and this and that and training material, and I'm on the road right now for about an hour, and I can easily help people that are struggling with stuff based on what I see on a weekly basis. If one person has a question, 2 people have a question, then I'm sure that thousands of people have the question, and I want to be able to answer. And I can't see on this phone if you're saying, let me see if I got any messages. Let me see if I can see it. All right, man. All right, now I can see it. Never miss comment. No, that's not it. Going south. I'm out of Florida. It's different in a lot of states, but I'm out of Florida. Miami, Florida has one of the toughest requirements to become a licensed certified operator. You got to get a certified operator in Florida in every category. So there's one for general pest, one for lawn and ornamental, termite. Everything has a category. So whatever category you want to be in, you got a certificate in it. You either get it with the company that later on, or you do it later on. You can get a training ID, which is what I did for termite, with a friend who has a pest control, who was willing to sign for me and give me the training and let me do the jobs and all that, so I could qualify to get my certification. So those are things. Hey, thanks for being King's Castle. Thank you for being a new viewer. Glad to have you here. Get out and do flips for $100. I don't know what to do for $100. You feel bad, and yeah, that's it. So guys, gals out there, like I said, I keep talking about the business side of pest control and the business side of anything. Look, I've been in so many home service businesses: roof pressure cleaning, landscaping, fence repair, paver repair, pretty much anything. I painted my first house when I was 16. It took me a week when I was in vacation off from school. I charged her $400. She put up the paint. She rented the equipment. I pressure washed it. I painted that house. It took me a week. Rebuilt my first engine at 18. I'm good with my hands. I've always been good with my hands. And I've done every service business. In every service business, there is either a low baller who just needs to eat that day and charges $150 to pressure wash a house, pressure wash a roof, that I used to charge $750 for. And I used to pay my roofing tech for 4 to 6 hours worth of work $150. It's ludicrous what some people do, because they calculate it. I need to make $150. You figure out how much you have in fuel, what a good pressure washer costs to buy, the maintenance on it, that you're not going to make your money back in just 3 jobs. It's going to take 20 jobs to make your money back. On any equipment you buy, it's usually a couple of years before you get the devaluation and the money back on the equipment. Nobody will say I spent $50,000 on building that truck out in the back, and that I'm going to get it back in 6 months. No, it's going to take 5 years for me to make my money back on all this equipment on a $100,000 investment. And, I will make $1.3 million on this van before I get my money back. So it's really understanding the accounting, understanding what the numbers tell you, understanding ROIs, understanding real costs. And you only get that from really getting into either, or you go to conferences, you start going to pest control. The National Pest Control Association has Pest World. It's a different city every year. This year it's in Colorado. You spend $2,000, you go out to Colorado of your own money, take your vacation time, pay for the hotel, pay for the investment, do it on your own time, take a week off, right? Go there and talk to owners. You'd be surprised how many owners like me will sit down at a table with you, and that I have 10 technicians, he'll have 10 technicians, and he'll tell you the truth about running a business. If you're young and you're not starting your business for 2 years, invest in your own education. What people want to do is they think buying equipment, getting all the license, and jumping in a truck, and now all their friends and family are going to refer them, and they're going to have a successful business. when they're not willing to invest in themselves. Best advice I can tell you is start planning 2 years ahead, going to the conferences, asking the hard business questions in the groups. What's the real ROI on this? What's the real cost of a customer acquisition, a CAC? What is the real cost of marketing? And then look at the people who have the large companies who'll tell you the truth. When somebody tells you, I never spent a penny on marketing and I've been in business 20 years, okay, how many technicians do you have? Because if it's just by yourself, hell, I only spent 3% of marketing when I was a solo operator for 5 years. I barely spent anything on marketing. It was all referral business from landscapers. Switch that over to wanting to grow, and we are 15% now of sales we're spending on marketing, and I got to crank that up to about 25% if I want to grow 50% a year. Because if I hire a person and I need to fill that route quick, then I got to be on the road selling while he's doing services, and I got to dump a ton more into marketing. Invest in going to the conferences. Invest in going into the training. Invest talking to a consultant in the industry who might charge you $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to get you consulted correctly, so that you know what you're going into, so that your success rate. Would you rather spend $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 on a good consultant in 2 years? Invest in that. When you hit the ground running in your first year or your 2 years, you're already making $250,000 a year. Your ROI 10x's, and you make it faster. You now know how to hire. You now know how to do a lot of things that you didn't know. No, what most people do, here's what most people do. I'm not going to spend money on anything. I'm just going to buy the equipment because I know people that made it, and then you don't have the skills. And then you fall on your face, and your pride won't let you admit you were wrong. Joe Jonovich has a great consulting. I think he charges like $100 an hour or something like that. Pete Chopin has great consulting. There's a lot of people you can talk. Go to Pest Daily. Subscribe to their program for a year. It's $690, $700 a year. You will learn so much about the pest control business, sales, marketing, and what you need to know. And you spend the next 2 years like going to college, right? Invest in yourself for the next 2 years before you start getting your ducks in a row, knowing what you need to know, and when you launch, have great success. Go work for a door-to-door company and learn door-to-door sales. I guarantee you will 10x your competition. If you were saying, I want to 10x, I want to grow, I want to build a big company because I'm young and I have a fire under me and I got a chip on my shoulder and I got something to prove and I want to prove my father wrong and I want to prove the world wrong because everybody says I would be a failure, then go invest in yourself. You're not going to go to college. You're not going to get a degree because you don't have the pedigree to be an accountant, a technician, an analyst. You're not going to go work for Bain, company. You're not going to work for Arthur Anderson if they're still around the top. I think the top 10 accounting firms are now the top 3. You're not going to be an engineer. You're not going to be an electrician because, you're like me. You got ADD, ADHD. You got whatever. You got more titles of syndromes than you know to shake a stick at, and you don't function in those environments. Great. You can still invest in yourself. You can still invest in your knowledge. You still have to put some type of investment in learning the business. And that's my best advice to you, is go out, pay the price to learn how to run a business. You can get a business degree without going to college and getting a business degree. I think a business management degree is a waste of time if you're going to own a business. I have a business management degree. The best thing I learned out of my business management degree is how to do accounting, how to understand accounting, how to understand numbers, how to understand finances in the business. That was it. All the sales stuff, I got it from being a salesperson. From being a salesperson since I was 16 until I was about 34, and I went to go work for myself. Okay, folks, that is my best advice, that you're going to have to pay the price. The idea that you're going to go into business on a shoestring and you're going to be the next big company. I'm going to stop here in traffic. Oh, here it is. There it goes. Okay, that's from the office. My Geraldine will handle that call. So, let me make sure my son isn't calling me. Okay, so yeah. So, folks, I mean, I'm giving you the best advice. It's not the advice you want to hear. It's not what's popular. It's not what's going to get a bunch of people to subscribe to my program. But I would rather have 10 people follow me that follow my advice, go get the help they need, become successful, than having 10,000 people that are just consuming content and doing absolutely nothing with it. Because you can learn everything about everything, and until you actually pull the trigger and you execute on it and you make it happen, you don't know anything. Guaranteed, you don't know anything about anything until you actually have learned to execute on what you know. You actually put your knowledge to the test in the real marketplace with real customers, in a real business where you have skin in the game. Everybody else is just talking out of their butt. Guaranteed. And I know enough people who have successful businesses who I learned from. There are things I'm not willing to do. There are things I don't want to stress. There are things I don't want right now. And there are things I'm never going to do. It's plain and simple. But, I'm growing at a good pace. My goal is to get it to an X amount and have an exit strategy. Do this for 25 years. Actually build a successful multi-million-dollar business. And then I can tell you how to do it. But I can tell you how to go from 0 to $500,000. I can tell you to go from 0 to 4 employees. I can tell you what you're going to go through. I can tell you where the numbers should be. I can look at your numbers and tell you where all your problems are. I can tell you what you need to do to get to the next level, from being a solo operator to hiring your first employee. I've gone through all that. You know what the funny part is? That I'm in the top 10% right now of all business owners in the country. Why? Because very few businesses make it past 15 years. The percentage is less than 10%. Businesses that actually have 4 employees is like in the top 10%. 90% of businesses, 80% of business owners are self-employed. They don't have employees. They don't know what it's like to have an employee. They tried. They had 2 employees that ripped them off, and they quit. And they said, never again. I've gone through 20-something, 30 employees now in the 15 years I've owned my business. I've always had 2 to 3 people. I've been okay making X amount a year. Now I want more, because this economy, the way it is, I have to grow. I got to stay ahead of the inflation. The only way I can stay ahead of inflation is to multiply myself in other people, because you can't keep adding work and keep working yourself to death. And now you need X, and the only way to do it is to multiply. We'll have more technicians, more marketing, more business. That's the reality of what you need. And so, you need to look at all this. I don't know if anybody's got any questions. I can't look too far down on my phone, but I can see them pop up. If you got comments or questions, be more than glad to tackle them. I always try to tackle them afterwards when this is posted. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, basically the top 9 social media channels plus our website. You want to know what I'm doing in pest control that's different than everybody else? Just follow me on my business channels, which is Nature Pest. Look up Nature Pest. We've done what other people say can't be done. Now we just need to duplicate it. And duplication is what's hard because it's easy to add. Multiplication is hard. Okay? It's not as easy as everybody thinks. This is why 80% of business owners don't do it. The fact that I got more than 2 employees, that I exceed $500,000 this year. If not, by the middle of next year, it'll be done with just 2 people, 2 technicians, and admin. That we do more than the average bear. It takes a lot of work. It isn't going to be handed to me. Everything I have, I've scraped for. And now I just need to get it to X. And X, I don't know what that X is, because I'll get to $750,000, I'll get to $1 million, I'll hit a wall. I'll get to $2 million, I'll hit a wall. And I don't know how far I want to go. Because until you get there, you really don't know. Why did one person sell at $150,000? They never got it, and they sold their business. I'm looking to buy businesses, by the way, in Miami. Miami-Dade, Broward. Miami-Dade, if you have a route that you're tired, you're getting ready to retire, you don't want to do it anymore, you never got it past yourself, you're a solo operator, I'm looking to buy those kind of routes. You're an exterior-only company, you don't do inside-outside service, you've got your customers on recurring revenue models where 75% of our clients are on credit card auto pay. The other 20% are on credit card, but they pay the bill on time. As long as they're paying the bill on time, I'm not going to push it. Only about 5% of our clients write us a check and send it to us. So we've got everybody on a recurring revenue model where